Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live webinar. I'm Triza Papachan, and today we're going to talk about unlocking permanent residency for specifically international students who are currently here in Canada and foreign workers. Let me introduce myself. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant here based in Canada. I'm the founder and director of Adapt Immigration and Adapt Consultants. I studied in Australia, have more than 15 years of work experience in the international education sector and immigration. And I am an immigrant myself who lived in Australia and now settled in Canada. So a little bit about ourselves before we get into the presentation. We at Adapt work hand in hand to provide you with a quality of service, high quality of service, and guide you through your immigration journey. By choosing us, you choose a worry-free, high-quality custom immigration journey. When I say custom, it's because we tailor it to your specific needs. We have two companies, Adapt Consultants and Adapt Immigration Inc. At Adapt Consultants, we work with several universities and colleges based in Canada, and we help you with your course selections. And we just don't stop with that. After we assist you with your studies, we also prepare you for your study abroad journey. And this is where Adapt Immigration Inc. comes in. We'll help you with your study permit and map out an entire immigration journey for you up until the citizenship right at the beginning. And Adapt Immigration Inc. is based in St. Catharines in Canada, in the beautiful Niagara region. And we are regulated Canadian immigration consultants. How do we specifically apply for your PR application, and how do we help with your application? The first step is we do a consultation with me, where we will assess your profile, your educational background, your work experience, and any other factors that affect your profile. And we give you a report of your assessment at the end of the consultation, along with your tentative CR score that we have calculated during your consultation. So this gives us an idea of where you would be placed for an immigration program. I then hand over it to my document specialist, and she will be in touch with you to collect any documents, assess these documents, and approve your documents for the specific PR profile. And she then creates a PR express entry profile in the IRCC website. After we collect all the documents and after we fill out, we help you fill out the forms. There is a 3-point checking within our company. So there's always human error, but this reduces the human error to as minimum as possible when there are 3 people checking your application. So when we submit your application for the express entry, it is impeccable. Adapt Comprehensive Program is something unique that is catered within Adapt Immigration and Adapt Consultants. We guide you throughout your immigration journey up until the citizenship, like I said before. This means that we map it out for you at the beginning. So you not only get a fantastic quality service with your education, but also up until your citizenship, you know where you're going and you can prepare accordingly, and we'll help you strategize for it. And if you use Adapt Consultants, you get 10% discount on all Adapt immigration fees. So that's a bonus there as well. You also can earn from referrals. So let's dive to it. We're talking about unlocking permanent residency for international students, specifically here in Canada. There is a lot of questions recently asked my clients, especially where they end up here and then figure out what to do to stay here. So they plan to come and study, and they think that everything's going to be mapped out for them. But only when they come here, they realize it's a little bit harder than they thought. So it's always better if you're already studying here or you're on a PGWP to look ahead and see what other options that you have. And today we're going to briefly talk about them because each of these topics have a lot of depth of information. So let's talk about the main categories to where you can apply for. So everybody knows the express entry and the federal skilled worker program. The federal skilled worker program is where you need to be, your profile needs to be when you start applying. So that is one option where you create your application after you come here in Canada, and be ready for any invitations that could happen. And we'll talk about that a little further. Um, we also have a Canadian Express class, which we'll talk about next. And we're going to touch upon a little bit of provincial nomination programs as well, the PMP programs for specifically international students and workers. And we're going to show a snapshot of the three famous provinces, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. And we'll have a little bit of question and answer session at the end of the webinar. So under the Express Entry program, there are three streams. We know that there's Federal Skilled Worker Program and the Canadian Express class. Today, we're going to talk about the Canadian Express class. The eligibility requirement for a CEC is to have at least 1 year of skilled work experience in Canada, or an equal amount of part-time work experience. How we calculate the part-time work experience is through the hours of how long you've been working. And it should be in the last 3 years. So you have gained your work experience working in Canada while authorized to work under temporary resident status. So you have also shown the perform the duties listed in your lead statement of the NOC codes. So whatever your primary NOC code is that you're going to choose, you should have performed duties related to that. A skilled work experience means that you have worked in one or more of these NOC code training, and the tier category needs to be in 0, 1, 2, or 3. This is the basic eligibility requirement to apply for the Canadian Express class or the Express Entry. You're not eligible for the CSC if you're a refugee claimant in Canada, you're working without an authorization, your work experience was gained without a temporary resident status in Canada. Also, please note that the self-employment and work experience gained while you are a full-time student, even if you're on a co-op work permit, doesn't count. So you won't be eligible to apply if you have work experience while you are studying. Canadian Express class needs, or any Express Entry program needs English language tests. Everybody gets so, I think this has been underrated because the English levels can make or break your CRS score. So to be eligible, the minimum level we need is a CLB 7 for tier 0 and 1 and CLB 5 for tier 2 or 3. There has to be, this is a generic advice, but there has to be a lot of effort taking into preparing for your English exams. There is no education requirement technically for a CEC, but to improve your CRS score and to make sure that you have high chances of getting invited, you definitely need a certificate or a diploma or a degree from either a Canadian institution or an ECA, so an Educational Credential Assessment Report that says that your qualification from overseas is equivalent to a Canadian qualification. Recently, in 2023, there was a category-based draws that was introduced. This is a very exciting draw because this specifically only chooses the occupations that are in demand depending on the economic goals of Canada. So this adds to the general draws, and it's very program specific. So the list of programs or the list of occupations that are in demand according to the economic report is the French language proficiency, healthcare occupations, STEM occupations, that is science, technology, engineering, and math, trade occupations, transport occupations, agriculture, and agri-food occupations. We're mostly interested in the STEM occupations because these occupations usually are quite large, more than what you can think. So if you look at the categories, the healthcare categories can be from dietitians to nurses. And the science categories, the technology categories from can be a data analyst or a cybersecurity analyst or a software engineer. So it's good to take a look at these demand lists, this list of occupations specifically, and see if you come under this category. And what is the before we speak about the eligibility requirement, I think we can have a quick look here at the draws and the minimum CRS scores. I am interested in the STEM occupations, which was the latest draw which happened on 8th of December, and the minimum score was 481. And if someone who has completed a bachelor's in computer science or IT or engineering and are in the high 400s, say 470, 479, 80, this is a really good program for you to look at. All you need is to make sure that you're on the Express Entry profile and be part of this occupation that is in demand. Same with the healthcare. The healthcare occupations a minimum requirement as per 26th of October's draw was 431, which is a very, very good score. If you're in the if you were in the Express Entry pool and you were in one of these occupations, you would have been picked up and be invited. So this is a very good program for you to consider to be eligible for. So what is the eligibility requirement for this? So you have to be you have to have at least 6 months of full-time continuous work experience in the last 3 years. Only 6 months. So if you have worked in your fields, that in your nominated occupation, the demand occupation for 6 months in the last 3 years, you're eligible to apply. You're eligible to be picked up. And even an equal part-time work experience as well. You meet the minimum criteria of the Express Entry. Of course, you have to meet your Express Entry program's minimum criteria of English and education and the tier occupations to be even present in the Express Entry pool. You also need to be, you can be in Canada and abroad and meet the specific requirements of that draw. So the main highlight that of these eligibility is the work experience, and if you have that, most of people will cover the other eligibility criteria, but the work experience is something that you can even plan to be in. 6 months from now is not too long. We're going to jump into the provincial nominee program. This is not a PR program. The PNP is not a PR program. It is an economic immigration program that provides pathways to foreign nationals to come and to become PR. It is for workers who have skills, education, and work experience to contribute to the specific province and want to live in that province and want to become permanent residents in Canada. So this is a generic outline of what PNP is. Each of these province and territory has its own streams. So they actually target people of different categories to meet their economic needs. So students, business people, skilled workers, and semi-skilled workers. If you come under these categories, they have separate streams that they want to target. And if you do get a nomination from a province, it could add up to 600 points for your current Express Entry profile. So this is definitely the other option you can think of for to increase your CRS score. The list here is only for international students who probably are currently here in Canada. This is just to give you an idea on what is available for you in all these provinces that you can claim 600 points for existing CRS score if you do not have enough CRS score. So in British Columbia is skills, it's called the Skills Immigration International Graduate Stream. Saskatchewan Experience Category Student Stream. Manitoba, the International Education Stream Career Employment Pathway. The Ontario Job Offer, the International Student Stream. Nova Scotia, International Graduates in Demand. Newfoundland and Labrador, International Graduate Stream. For workers in British Columbia, it's Skills Immigration Skilled Worker Stream. In Alberta, the Express Entry Stream, the Rural Renewal Stream, Alberta Opportunity Stream. Saskatchewan has a lot more, and everyone who's with an existing work permit can apply for the skilled worker, the semi-skilled agricultural worker and existing work permit, health professionals, hospitality sector, and long-haul driver project. Manitoba, skilled worker stream, and Ontario, the foreign worker stream, in-demand skilled stream, and human capital priority stream. So in addition to New Brunswick, skilled worker stream, express entry stream, Newfoundland and Labrador, skilled worker stream, Nova Scotia, skilled worker occupations in demand, and the Nova Scotia Experience, express entry. Prince Edward Islands is the express entry and occupations in demand. We go through these specific streams so you have an idea that you have an option to apply for these provinces, and these are various options, whether you're an international student or you're a foreign worker, to take a look at these provinces to see if you are eligible. Sometimes people don't realize the options that they have, and it is vital for you to see if you have the experience, and if you're here and you've gained that 1 year experience, you will have so many different opportunities for you to meet your immigration dreams. I'm very excited about the Ontario International Student Stream because they recently had added a program requirement. So they expanded the eligibility for international students who have completed 1 year of college graduate certificate. So previously, the candidates need to have applied with 1 year credential from an eligible institution, only if the program requirement had a degree, which means that they had to be a postgraduate diploma or a master's. So that's the only time that they were able to apply. But now you can apply if you have a 1 year college graduate certificate. So this is effective from Jan 1st, 2024. The Saskatchewan Hard to Fill Skills Pilot. We've picked out 3 provinces because these 3 provinces are quite popular, but this is not an exhaustive eligibility requirement and list of occupations. This is just to give you an idea that these are the options available to you to see if you are eligible for this particular province, or through the category-based invitations, or through the express entry profile, even the CEC class. So this should give you a various overview of all the programs available to you if you want to immigrate. The Saskatchewan website of saskatchewan.ca has a really good tool as well. So if you go into the website, you'll be able to click with just a few questions. You'll be able to determine whether or not you're eligible and for what program you can apply for. But to qualify for this particular hard to fill skills, you need to have at least 1 year of full-time work experience in the past 3 years. Of course, in your intended occupation, or 6 months, 780 hours of full-time, which is 780 hours of work experience in the job within the employer that has provided you the job approval letter. So you need the job approval letter in order to be eligible for the Saskatchewan Hard to Fill Skills Pilot. You need to have a low score of CLB 4, and always don't aim for a low score. Try not just meet the minimum requirement, try and meet as high as possible because your scores will increase. Have completed a secondary school or a high school or higher level of education. So this is a basic requirement that you need to be eligible for. Of course, most people would have completed at least a diploma. have a SINP approved offer for a permanent full-time job in Saskatchewan, you will need a valid SINP job approval letter from your employer to show proof. So the offer must be in the list of eligible occupations in this stream. And this list has shippers, nurse aides, pharmacy technician assistants, and pharmacy assistants, food and beverage servers, light duty transport truck drivers. This is just a short list, but this is not. If you go into the Saskatchewan website, you'll see a much more longer list, and this is worth your time to see if you come in any of this occupation. The Alberta Accelerated Tech Pathway. This is also another famous province that most people apply to and most people are eligible for, but that it comes with a few catch. So if you have been invited to submit an application, you must meet the minimum requirement of the Alberta Express Entry stream that is basic throughout all provinces. You're working full-time in Alberta under an employment contract or have a bona fide job offer for full-time employment based in Alberta, signed by you and your employer that is an occupation on the list of the tech pathway occupations for an Alberta employer whose primary business activities belong to the Alberta tech industry. Also have a base monetary wage or salary that meets the provincial minimum wage and meets or exceeds the requirements set out in the LMIA, or if you are LMIA exempt and you do not have an LMIA, meet or exceeds the lowest starting wage of your occupation across all industries in Alberta. The Alberta nominations here are computer systems developers, if you're or a web designer. You can be a user support technician, mechanical engineer. So if there's a lot of very popular nominations or the nominations or occupations that we get most from. And this is something that you can think about. Now, these provinces here have a specific occupation that are in demand, as you see, so from Saskatchewan to Alberta to Ontario. Now, if you started your studies, if you are just thinking about studying in Canada and you have one of these occupations, what we do is from the beginning, we look at your occupation and see if they would meet any of these pathways for your PR up until the end. And you're just at the stage of applying for your program of university or college and just coming to study. But imagine if you were able to find, let's just say you're a mechanical engineer and you're a mechanical engineer by education, and you want to come and study here and you have work experience related to that. You would be in the Alberta Accelerated Tech Pathway, but you would have mapped out this at the beginning. So you know exactly what you're going to do in the next 3 years and how exactly you're going to get your PR. And that's what makes us different. We're going to go through a little bit of sample profiles just to have an idea on what they need to do for the CR score. Meet Ram. Ram is 32 years old, male, single, earned a bachelor's degree from his home country. He works as a food service supervisor, and he's a temporary foreign worker in Canada for 2 years. He has an IELTS of speaking 7, reading 7.5, writing 7, listening 7.5. His total score is 459. How can we increase Ram's CR score for PR? He needs to take his IELTS. He needs to retake them with a better score, of course. Create Express Entry profile and check for PNP streams. So if Ram has to meet the minimum requirement of the Express Entry CRS score, he needs to retake the IELTS as many times as possible until he can get that score, and create an Express Entry profile to be eligible for any of the in-demand streams, and have a province in line that he can apply for. So all of this has to be done simultaneously. Meet Anya. She's 29 years old, female, married. She finished a 2-year postgraduate diploma in Canada and is applying for her PGWP. Her IELTS score is 7 in speaking, reading is 8, writing is 7.5, listening is 8. So she has a score of 456. Now, how do we increase Anya's score? It's the same. So she retakes her IELTS to gain more points in her IELTS and more points in her CRR score. And this IELTS or English program, CELPIP, it really changes your CRR score. So there has to be a lot of effort into any English program that you're applying for PR. And this is all you have to do. Take a couple of classes, prepare, take coaching if you need. But if you keep retaking your IELTS or CELPIP and get the required score, you would be in a very, very good position to apply for, to get nominated or to get an invitation. And the other tip is to create the Express Entry profile just for the fact that if you were picked up by a province and your occupation is in demand in any of these provinces or the category-based program draws that happen, you could be easily invited for your PR if you are just in the Express Entry profile, Express Entry pool. So if you plan on getting into immigration right after you land here and you want to plan for it, create an Express Entry profile and retake your IELTS or gain Canadian work experience. So it just depends on the timing of it. But if you have a strategy right, you will be successful. We are currently taking any questions that you might have. But while the questions are coming, in the meantime, we'd also like to let you know that our webinar for immigrating to Australia is coming up next in the end of this month. And you'll know general information about immigrating to Australia with our partner licensed immigrant Mara consultant, and also how to immigrate from Canada if you're a registered nurse or a teacher. And if you are interested, then you can book a consultation and we'll let you know how we can do that. We have a question. I'm an international student in Ontario, graduating soon. Can I move to another province for my PGWP? Will it affect my future PR application? I suggest that you stay in Ontario if there's a specific reason why you're moving to another province, because depending on your profile. So if you have, depending on your CRR score, if you have enough CRR scores to get picked up, or if you're in a good range to be picked up, what is your occupation? All this comes into factor. So if you are able to get picked up in an Express Entry category without having a province support, then you can move. No one's going to stop you. But if you are looking at a province to support specifically, it is best to stay in that province. So that way you don't lose on the opportunity to apply. So everything comes down to your primary CRR score that you have calculated for your Express Entry. There's a lot of questions that come to me, or a lot of hesitations that come to me after they, or even before they apply for Express Entry profile. If they need to wait, if they need to see in which way they could apply, because there's a lot of hesitations on whether or not to apply without your new IELTS score, or whether to retake your IELTS score because the IELTS score is low. I suggest as soon as you have an IELTS score and get a WES certification, to be in the Express Entry pool. The best place to get nominated, or the best position to be in, is to be in the Express Entry pool. And while you're there, you plan on retaking your IELTS, getting, if you're here already, gain local work experience, Canadian work experience, and we can update your profile as and when you do that. But at least you have the opportunity to get picked up by a province or by a or the category based, depending on your occupation, of course. And sometimes for provinces, specifically for Alberta, you do need, or the province will give more preference for someone who has a family member in a close or immediate family member in Alberta. So that could, if that's one of the reasons, or if you're looking at that as a province, then that could be one of the reasons why you might not get picked up. But it doesn't just mean that you have only that option. You should be looking at other options as well. So that's another tip. If we don't have any questions, please like and follow us in all our social media channels. Send us a message if you have a specific question, depending on your case. We do have another question. What is the scope in the PNP category for accountants? So it depends on which PNP. Again, like I showed you in the presentation, each PNP has its specific requirement and specific list of the demand list that they're looking for. So what you need to do is to see if look at the demand list first, and if you have any of the occupations. So just accountants mean what exactly is your NOC code. So you need to determine which one is your NOC code, and then see if it falls under the demand list of this PNP, and then you see if you meet the other requirements, and you'll be able to take a decision from then on. So in general, it's very hard to tell, because unless you have like a list of look at these lists, because accountants in general are in demand, but they're not really called accountants. They're called in different occupations. So you have to see which occupation that you are for a financial analyst, or it's not a financial analyst, but you have an accounting background. So it depends on what work experience you have as well. So probably a good idea to look at these province occupation list. So if you do have any more questions, I'm happy to answer. If not, please book a consultation in the comments, and we'll be able to talk to you specifically regarding your background and regarding your program of preference, and also assess your CRS score and see where you stand and give you the right advice depending on that. There's a lot of exciting changes that we foresee in 2024 in immigration. 2023 was, had ups and downs. We had some amazing new introduction, and we also had the category-based draws. But at the same time, there was a lot of disappointment with the CRS scores in general, because it was quite high and it was hard to reach. So 2024 could be the year of more options for potential immigrants and be able to apply. We have another question. How about project management programs? What could be possible PR for them? Again, so this project management generally is a good occupation, and we see a lot of these occupations in demand, in the demand list of provinces and category-based and express entry. But again, to answer that something specific as what possible options for PR is, it depends on your current CRS score. It also depends on your, what is your background, your qualification, work experience, and then we'll be able to narrow down and say this is specific to for project management, and for people who not only have that but have this CRS score, and you're eligible for this province, or you could be picked up by the invitation in category draws. So, but in general, project management is a good occupation to be in. The next question: what are the best prospect province for PR for accountants? I'm a CPA in my home country and I've been working in my field of studies. Will be taking MBA in Vancouver this year, and what will be my prospect for PR? This is great. Doing a master's in or an MBA or any master's for that case is very good because you increase your CRS score just by that. So if you have a bachelor's degree and a master's, it is you get highest points for your education. And you have a CPA back home, and you want to be if you're looking at being an accountant, you have to get registered. Obviously, it's a regulatory occupation, so you have to get licensed to be able to do that here, and that you'll be able to do it with an MBA in Vancouver. So the best prospects here, just by saying that you've done an MBA and you probably have a good IELTS score, is good. And because British Columbia has provincial that has demands skills, and in the province, if you've studied there, is got a lot of value in getting a provincial nomination for you. So I think you're in a good position without having a CR score, any of your background, but I still think that you're in a good position to be able to apply. The other important thing that we have to remember is also the age of your the age, because the higher you are, you have to help by looking at, you have to help the CR score by looking at increasing other things that are higher. So the higher you are at age, the wiser you are, but in terms of CR score, it's a little bit low. So you need to look at all these aspects to be able to give you a thorough or more detailed assessment. So we will wait for a minute or two to get any more questions. But that's the link that we have to be able to apply. Please note that our consultations are usually paid, but because you have taken the effort to be in this webinar, and because you have taken the effort in your first step of immigration and attend this webinar, you'll be given this 45-minute consultation for free. So this is only for the attendees who are here and who have attended the webinar and who have registered. You will be able to talk to me and get a more detailed assessment on how we will be able to help you and where you stand in the immigration stage and what you can do to improve your CRS score and where you can pivot to be able to get where you want to be. I thank you for being here and listening to us. I hope this has given you an idea on how to move with your immigration plans and given you enough knowledge to be able to take the first step. And we hope to see you in our next webinar that's happening at the end of this month, and hope you like and follow us in our social media as well. Thank you again, and I wish you all a good luck in your immigration journey.